Hey guys, this week we are talking about Josh's crazy trip to Vegas, shrinking gambling budget plans, and more, so stick around.
Welcome to the Crap Vegas Podcast.
Vegas, here we come.
Vegas!
Here are your hosts, Chris and Josh.
Hello everyone, and welcome to episode number 78 of the Crap Vegas Podcast. I am Chris, he's Josh. Josh, what's going on?
Well, there's nothing like coming back from Vegas, Chris, and doing your taxes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. They're pretty much the same experience, right?
And yeah, exactly. Lose money on both. And I'm telling you, I have a new appreciation this year for the $1,200 W2G.
Yeah. When you go through that list and you realize you have 77 from one day, and you're like, oh, this is going to take a while. Now, Josh, do you do what I do? Do you have a spreadsheet going, like an Excel document, that you put them all on as soon as they happen?
I have a spreadsheet that I put them all on a day or so ago. And then I use that.
So you waited to the very end of the year and then did it. I find it's a lot easier if you do it as it comes.
I think I probably will this year, yeah.
So that's usually what I do, especially on Vegas trips, Josh. If I'm back in the room and I have a bunch I haven't put in yet, I'll just start putting them in the room as
I think,
I'm
Chris,
there.
you're the only listeners. If anybody else updates their W2 spreadsheet in real time on their computer in Vegas.
Yes. Now, Josh, we can't talk about it on this episode, but I do have a solution for people along these lines that's going to be announced very soon.
That is going to be exciting. I know what it is, and it's going to be very exciting. W2Gs, though, it's a nightmare. I mean, I am maybe just more disorganized than a lot of gamblers. Maybe not. I don't know. But, not only do I have a whole bunch to enter, but it's like, did I lose any? Did I lose any of the paperwork and all that kind of stuff? It's
one of the reasons that I really appreciate FastPay.
Yes.
I think that has actually made my life a heck of a lot easier. And
Yes.
even if you're a person that only has 2 or 3 hand pays in a given trip, or even if you're somebody that rarely gets them, I would still say the first time they come over for the day to give you a hand pay, hey, can I get set up for fast pay for the day? I mean, if you're playing in high limit, if you're not, it's a different story because it might not apply out there. But I would always sign up, even if I only end up with 2 in a day, because it almost guarantees I won't miss anything.
Right. That's my thinking too. And we'll talk about that as we go. But I did that a lot on this trip too.
Now, I will also say, Josh, some casinos are far better than others. Like Boyd Properties, if you go on their website, they'll have a listing of every W2G that you can pull up a copy of each one that you earn throughout the year.
Yeah.
So you don't have to email them and ask or wonder, did I miss anything? They literally put everything online. And when I think technologically advanced companies, Boyd is not what comes to my mind. So it's actually
definitely
kind of
not
frustrating.
Venetian with their no app.
Yeah, I mean, Venetian, they still don't have an app. Their website's getting slightly better, but it's still not great.
It is. Anyway, that's what's going on with me. What about you?
Josh, I have a question for you that's been going around in my local group of friends here that I talk with that are non-gambling friends.
Okay.
And I'm curious what your thoughts are because you're kind of a golfer, right?
Yeah. Oh, I was going to ask you about the Masters. That's going on as we speak. But
yes, and that's what actually brought this topic up, Josh. So here's my question for you. Let's say that you were in the Masters. You're participating.
Okay.
However, you start
trouble.
on the edge of the green on every single hole. Edge of the green. So the farthest point away from the pin on every single hole. Do you think you could win the Masters?
Let's see. So what's 4 times 18, Chris? You're the math guy.
72.
Okay. Thank you. So
could you could 4-putt everything?
That's where my mind is going. Could I?
Well, you're definitely not going to win the Masters shooting 72.
You might over 4 days. No, you're not going to win the Masters. Some golf tournaments you could even par kind of idea.
I mean, I'm thinking in my mind, just for numerical sake, I think that you'd probably have to have somewhere around 10 or 12 under. So you're going to have a decent amount of birdies.
You might. I mean, it depends on weather. Weather could actually help you.
It could.
If you get you could. But I mean, if you could get that, I bet you'd be in the running at 8, 9 under probably.
Probably.
But could you do that, boy? Three
So
putting. I don't think I could. I have enough trouble 3-putting on a regular green.
I understand. Do you think you could make the cut?
Yes. I think.
Okay.
I think from the edge of the green, we could make the cut.
Like, I feel like I could make the cut. Now, winning, that's a completely different story. And especially if we're talking about Masters greens, because the Masters,
that's what I mean.
Augusta just has such crazy like undulations on the green.
Did you
and
see
it's
Rory's
steep and
daughter?
So
I think it was
No, I did
Rory's
not.
daughter. She, she's got to be like 4 years old or something, a little tiny.
Uh-huh.
And I think it was Rory. I'm pretty sure it was Rory. She hits a putt. They've got her out there on like Tuesday of this week or something, and she hits a putt, and she hits it like, a foot and a half, and she's 20 feet, 30 feet away from the hole, but she hits the ball about a foot and a half. And I'm thinking, well, that's too bad. It wasn't. And the ball just keeps rolling, and she makes it at the end of the story. She makes the putt.
Yeah.
But the amazing part for this conversation is the ball just kept rolling and rolling, but no speed. You know what I mean? It was only going just a teeny bit, and just
trickling forward. No, that's why I think it would be so hard, because this isn't a normal course,
right?
Where you can, you always can 2-putt, maybe 3-putt on a bad day.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like it's going to take me at a minimum 3 putts. Unless I just get super lucky. But yeah, I'm right there with you, Josh. I could be 4-putting every hole.
All right. One of our listeners has got to have a membership at Augusta, and they need to take us out there, and we'll see what we can do.
Now, I do have some friends that are members of Valhalla.
Oh, so I know that's close to you. Yeah.
I could get us on there to do the challenge there.
Let's do it.
But no, I can't vouch for anybody at Augusta, so I don't have any help there. Although a $1.50 egg sandwich does sound really nice right about now.
There you go. You got the pimento. What's the the thing at the Masters?
Yeah, they got barbecue and pimento and egg salad.
Yeah.
By the way, how did their egg salad sandwich not go up in price? $1.50?
That's what they do. By the way, you know what they call the attendees at the Masters?
What?
Patrons.
Do they?
Yes.
Oh, well, there you go. Okay. Yeah. Well, good. See, I think watching golf
thank you, patrons.
like on TV is pretty much the most boring thing ever. Only second to watching baseball on TV.
Where does curling fit in?
Oh, I'd much rather watch curling. That's very exciting.
See? Right.
Yeah, no, put that way up on the list. So anyways, Josh, that's all I got this week, but I thought I'd pose that hypothetical to you.
It's a great question.
Okay, let's tell people how to get a hold of us. You can reach us on email. That's podcast@crapvegas.com. You can join us over on our Facebook group. That's crapvegas.com/Facebook. You can hit us up over on Twitter.
X.
He's at Vegas Duffy. I'm at Small Whale 13, or the show page is at Crap Vegas. Or
Chris, what about voicemail?
Did I skip something? Oh, no. Josh, here's a little like peek behind the curtain for the production side of Crap Vegas. We typically get somewhere, I don't know, between 5 and 15 emails a week from people that are curious about the show, that have a question. We got a lot of comments on the Facebook group, and over on Patreon, we get a lot of DMs. I get a lot of messages on Twitter.
What don't we get?
Ever since the beginning, when we introduced a voicemail hotline, for many reasons, I think, we get maybe one voicemail a week. It's not much, and it's usually nothing I would want to actually use on the show, Josh, because it's usually somebody just calling. Half the time, I feel like they're drunk, and they're just like, hey, I love you guys. You're amazing. No real question. Right. And I don't really think there's any reason to include that. So I have now taken that off of our contact list. That method is still technically there. I haven't turned it off or anything, but we're good. I think what it is, Josh, is one of our biggest friends, you can bet on that, their whole show is voicemails.
Right.
And, they respond to each one, and they really are much more timely getting back to people than we ever are. Like, I think in the questions this week, one of them is from 6 weeks ago, and the other one's from 9 weeks ago. That's just how I'm finally getting around to things.
We try.
You can bet on that is so much better at responding to people's messages in a timely fashion. They love voicemails. They have the technology to properly do them. So we just let them do their thing. And I thought, let's just step away from that avenue. How's that?
Yeah, but thank you to Joyce, and I think it was Ace Boone were the two voicemails that we played over the course of the show. So thank
Joyce's
you both.
You never could hear. Like I heard it, but the people on the recording didn't.
When we had whatever episode 50 or somewhere or another, I replayed it and I boosted the audio. You could at least hear it.
I do remember that.
Once we learned how to do that,
back in time, they can now hear what that was. So, anyways, you know how to get a hold of us there. And the last way, of course, is always on Patreon. We'd love to have you join us. It's patreon.com/crapvegas. We always offer that 1 week free trial now. We've only had one person, I think, join and not actually pay afterwards. So I'm not going to call that person out by name. But so, no, we'd love to have you join us over there. Yeah, come take advantage for a week. If you don't like it, you don't like it. You're not hurting our feelings. We just love to have you join us for a minute. But yeah, other than that, Josh, you know how to get a hold of us. So let's keep the episode moving. Previous episode feedback. We received an email from Eric. Eric said, loved hearing about Chris's recent trip. That is a crazy amount of play to get in one gaming day.
No
Do
kidding.
you? Yeah, I agree. Do you think the chairman's tier is a possibility at that level or just not there long enough for Chris? Love the show and thanks for all the content, Eric. And Eric, before Josh even tries to answer this question, Josh, I think we should save it for a discussion we're going to have a little later about your trip because I think this plays right into it.
That sounds like a good plan. Thanks for the question, Eric.
Okay, we received an email from Denise. Denise said, always interesting to hear people's thoughts about which property is right for someone. I do think a person with a $7,500 bankroll would do very well at a place like Aria, but would that really get any interest from their hosts? What's a good credit amount where hosts start to notice?
Denise, two good questions there, and I think they're kind of separate things. If you're playing a $7,500 bankroll, obviously a little bit of it depends on how long you're there and stuff like that, but I think if you go to Vegas and you're willing to lose $7,500 on a trip, that's enough to get you well comped and things like that. You'll notice. Would it get any attention from a host? Yeah, I would think so. $7,500 is not insignificant over, a relatively shortish period of time.
Yeah, I think at Aria, it's a good amount of play.
Yeah.
I just don't think it's enough really to get a host to like run out to the floor and be like, hey,
it's not
you want to be one of my players?
Right.
But maybe depending on how long you made that $7,500 last,
yeah,
if you got really
that too,
lucky on
right.
some slots and it cycled through a lot, or if you were having some pretty good luck at the tables and you played on the same money for 4 hours at a time, then yeah, when you go to leave, if you swing by the host desk, they'll at least entertain the idea of comping a couple things off, and maybe they might throw you their name for a future trip. It's possible.
Yeah, I think depending, I can't say for sure, but I feel like if you lose $7,000 a trip, a host is going to notice you. You might get a host.
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe. Not for
I wouldn't
sure,
guarantee it.
No, I think so too.
It
That's
does
kind
depend.
of right on the edge, but yeah.
Because your Theo could be so low, Josh, that they just don't care.
That's true. Yeah, because you could lose that in 5 minutes of craps and barely get noticed, right?
I mean, we would know that. We do that all the time.
Exactly. Your second question is a really interesting one, Denise, and I'm going to save that just like we did with Eric's. Let's save that for the discussion of my trip because that's actually a topic that came up a little bit.
Sounds good to me, Josh. It sounds like we have a lot to talk about in a little bit. So with that being said, let's keep on going. So, Josh, you just got back from what felt like a 2 or 3 week trip out to Venetian Palazzo.
Chris is like, I don't know how you do it.
Honestly, before we even talk about the trip, I'm understanding less now than ever how you can make a trip that long enjoyable. Like, and maybe this is a different discussion for a different day. I love Vegas. Of course I love Vegas. We talk about it all the time. I've been there way too many times at this point in my life. But I don't enjoy it when it starts getting out that long. Like at that point, I'm almost guaranteed to be a loser at that length of a trip because you were there
that's true. Yeah.
You were there for what, 5 days?
4
correct?
days and 4 nights rather, and 5 full, it's effectively all
Pretty
of
much
Friday,
full
Saturday,
days.
Sunday, Monday. Yes. And then half of Tuesday.
So I feel like on a 5-day trip, the odds of me losing pretty significantly probably after 5 days, I'd put the probability around 85 to 90%.
Yeah. I think that's
it's just
right.
really hard to play that much as we do over a period that long and not be losing a lot of money.
No matter what the game. No matter what game you're playing, right?
No, I don't care if what you're doing. Casino war, blackjack, craps, slots, Keno.
Right.
You're gonna be down at that point. So Josh, I don't know how you do it because at least for me, and maybe I'm just different about this, when I'm done with my gambling and I'm getting a point where I'm starting to get pretty down financially, like my mind says, time to leave, get out of there. I'm not good at all about like, okay, I'll just go hang out at a pool or or a VP bar and just play quarters. Like at that point for me, I'd rather just get home, recover and move on because like most gamblers, I feel like, and maybe I'm wrong, if you have a bad losing session, you're way down, things aren't going well, you don't want to like harp on it and stick around it. You just want to get away from it, get out of that mindset and move on and give it a couple weeks to recover. And then I'll get back into the gambling mood again. But there's nothing worse than that feeling right when the loss is really setting in your mind.
I think that's true. And I think your point is valid. I mean, and this is a good example for me. I did not have a winning trip. And yet I had one of my most fun trips ever on this trip, even though I lost considerably. And we'll talk about, the different things I did. But, I get your point. And, when we dive in, Friday, the first day I got there, I started out losing much more than I had expected to on the first day.
Sure. Yeah.
And Fortunately, I hit a huge slot jackpot at the end of the day that brought me almost all the way back to where, well within my quote unquote Friday budget. But I was kind of heading off in the direction you said, which was like, holy cow, I'm already in this far. It's the first day of a 5-day trip. What am I going to do?
Now, let me ask you this, Josh, and I think you're completely different than me on this from my guess at your answer.
Right.
But let's say, okay, you have a gambling budget for a trip. It doesn't matter what it is. All of us, everybody that's listening right now, the two of us talking in these microphones, we all have different numbers when we go into a trip with a credit limit, a max loss, whatever you want to call it, that we know in our mind, this is as far as we're going. And it's different for everybody. But let's say Friday ends. You don't hit those slot jackpots that bring you pretty much back up to normal.
Right.
I mean, pretty much even as gambler verbiage for still being a loser.
Still down, but yeah.
We're getting in the range.
Yeah.
But anyways, let's say that didn't happen. And Friday, by the end of the day, you had lost 90% of what you wanted to lose on that trip.
Right.
Do you ever consider cutting that trip short? Or do you just treat it like I'm just going to be here this many days and I'm just going to hang around and whatever happens, happens?
It's a vacation for me at that point. And it's not, well, a couple things. I have a pretty, I'm a degenerate gambler mind, and I have a way to scrape out money here and there if I need to.
Sure. Yeah.
So I'm always in one point in my head kind of envisioning a worst case scenario.
You can always bounce to another property. There are plenty other credit lines available.
Line that's credit, right. I mean, there's a reason I asked my host ahead of time for a prophylactic TTO.
Exactly. I don't need it yet, but I might.
I haven't hit that point. I haven't hit a point ever where I lost, effectively the entire trip budget on the first day. Mm-hmm. And I don't think I would ever let myself get to that point. I mean, I just don't. Knowing myself, I would stop at some point that I gave myself reasonable amounts to play with the rest of the trip. But then if I did, I think I would be like, okay, I'm going to be a $1 slot player or a $15 craps table player, a place in the 6 and the 8, and I'd probably still have a decent time.
Yeah, this is just where I think you and I are so completely different, Josh, because if I can't play at the level that I'm used to playing at and that I prefer to play at, if you're not there, especially if it's a solo trip, then why am I sticking around? Like, I have no desire. I don't go to Vegas as like a vacation.
Right.
It's not for me to get away from everything and turn that whole world off and do all that stuff for days and just do all this other exciting stuff. Or if I want to take a real vacation, then I'll go to a beach or I'll go skiing or I'll go do something like that. I would never go to Vegas just to have a vacation if I wasn't gambling. That's not happening.
Yeah, I think that's a good transition point because we've gone down this kind of sad, dark road so far, but let's talk about all the fun I had.
Yes, because I think that's the difference, though, is more so than when I go, you had so much packed into these 5 days that I can actually understand how even if you were getting killed, it wouldn't matter because you had so many other things to do while you were there.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so let's kick it off, Josh. Friday, you're arriving into town. You flew into Vegas relatively early in the day from what I remember. I was a little shocked you were that early getting there.
I know it was a 9:30, 9:45 arrival. And Chris, I've got, the driver. Venetian's really good, especially lately, about their drivers will text you when they're on their way.
I agree.
That. I'm in the air. We haven't even started our descent yet. And the driver texts me. He's at the airport. And I said,
I've had that too recently with them. They're very good about that.
We're not even descending yet. You're going to be there like another 40 minutes before I arrive.
Hey, he was ready to go, Josh. Big tip waiting for him.
He said better than waiting at their waiting area.
No, for sure. And I guess that I'm going to assume because you got there 10 o'clock-ish in the morning, your room was not ready.
My room was not ready,
okay.
Which is, so I had to dive into the AP slot play that we've already discussed.
Oh, so you went over to the NFL slot with the footballs on top that rise up for the different bonuses.
I found the perfect machine.
Even after you heard my lovely story of how I just drained tens of thousands of dollars through that machine for nothing. How did that go for you, Josh?
I drained tens of thousands of dollars worth of machine for nothing.
So the AP play wasn't exactly working the way that you expected it to.
It wasn't. That was how I ended up down so far before the trip effectively even started. Yeah, it was fun, but it was miserable. But I did set up fast pay. And, on the NFL slot, the first time I had a hand pay, the person, I said, can I set up fast pay? And so that worked great. After that, I went and played some VP at the favorite video poker bar, which was...
I feel like based off photos and conversations with you for that 5 days, you probably spent 60% of your time at the Palazzo High Limit Bar playing VP.
Yes, that is exactly right. I played a ton. We'll talk about a few different things, but with video poker, I mean, part of I was joking with, I think it was Boring Jack, and Boring Jack has had the idea of starting his own podcast and doing it on video poker. And kind of the running joke is, what are you going to talk about? I hit a 4 of a kind. I hit 4 of a kind. I hit a 4 of a kind. Then nothing happened.
That is true. I mean, it's pretty much the same with any game that you're talking about, even slot machines, same thing.
Yeah.
Craps usually has a little bit more like interesting stories that can pop out of the table. But yeah, in video poker, unless you hit a royal or hit like 4 aces with a kicker, there's nothing really too exciting to talk about.
It's not. Yeah. So anyway, I did play some video poker. So it got to be that, Chris, on Friday, kind of the day went along. Our friend Marilyn arrived. Eric and Stacy were there. Boring Jack arrived. So I was playing with all these people really at the yeah. And I was started to go play some Huff and even more Puff. And I put in a ticket for, whatever I did, a couple $1,000s. And even that's down to like 200. It's like I'm way going through that thing real quick. Yeah. And our host comes out. And I texted Chris and I said, our host came out. She gave me a hug or a hello or something. And Chris is like, she never comes out to see me at the slot machine.
She didn't come out to see me. And I got to be careful what I say, Josh, because I've now been informed, and we'll talk about this in a minute. She didn't know that we had a podcast, but she definitely does now. So I feel like I got to be very careful what I say.
It's true. So she said, well, maybe I'll bring you luck. And sure enough, she did. I took that machine from $200 in it when she came out. I had even used up my, not just regular free pay, but the free play that you accumulate. Yeah, that's just the... And so I had $200 left, and I took that 200 to 16 grand.
Wow. So did you tip her for doing
the host
for standing behind you? Did you tip her for standing there?
At the time, it wasn't. She left before this all happened. She just came out and brought me luck and then left.
I was just thinking of all those like random people in the casino that will like walk up to you and pray that you hit a bonus all of a sudden. They're like, see, I brought you luck.
I brought you luck.
That's what she was doing.
I did end up, so we'll kind of get the next part of the story is I did end up buying her dinner.
Josh, I think that was the funniest part of the trip because it was Friday evening and Josh sends me a text. He's like, you're never going to believe who I just had dinner with. And all these names rushed through my head of like celebrities and listeners to the show that I thought were going to be there. The crazy slot YouTube people. Right. And Josh is like, no, it was our host. She had dinner. She never had dinner with us when we're there together.
So it was Eric, Stacy, Marilyn, Boring Jack, our host, and me.
Well, what a group. I mean, you can't ask for much more excitement than that.
It was a lot of fun. At least
it's Del Monaco, because I mean, that's the best place in the world to eat.
It was a great time. And, we talked about, going back to the host conversation. She didn't know about the podcast. Yeah. She's not really a podcast listener. So she didn't even know like how to get a podcast really and that kind of thing. But it was hilarious because she kept saying, I wonder how I could use this to my advantage.
Oh, I'm sure. Advertise with us. Send us an email, podcast@crapvegas.com. I will get you our advertising rates and we'll go from there.
And as I tell the stories with her, I drank a ton on Friday because
I know.
I had 3 drinks on the plane, and then I had at least 4 before dinner, and then a couple at dinner. So at one point, our host is talking. We're telling stories. I don't remember what it was, and she's like, "This isn't going to end up on the show, is it?" Whatever story she told me.
Very good about not including things that people don't want included.
Well, the problem is though, I can't remember what she said not to include.
Oh, whoops!
Because I've been drinking.
That's not on me.
So, no.
And to be fair, we never even used any host's name on the show ever.
No.
The only thing that we would ever give that's an identifier is if it's a male or a female. Right. We don't say people's names. So don't worry. It's not going to come.
And we're pretty, I'm pretty good about keeping secrets if I'm supposed to keep secrets, if I remember that I'm supposed to keep them secrets.
But Josh, you finished dinner with this amazing group. Anything else to wrap the night up, or were you done at this point?
Well, a couple of things going back to, I think it was Denise's question about lines of credit.
Yes.
So we were talking, one of the people, I won't name them just in case they don't want to be named, but one of the people at dinner mentioned that they had just set up a line of credit at Venetian.
Okay.
And our host, Chris, her ears perked up at that. He's like, ooh, kind of maybe a new player and the person said that they just set up the line of credit for the minimum. And she said, oh, how much is the minimum? And he said, 5,000. She said, oh, I don't want you.
Oh my God. Hold on. Let me catch my breath here.
It's really funny.
Which is hilarious because you know what? That's the one thing that I absolutely love about this host. She will tell you flat out how she feels about everything. If
Yes.
it helps her, if it doesn't, she is very straightforward. And in this case, very insultive. But you know what? I'd rather you insult me and tell me the truth than like placate me and make me feel like I'm more important than I am.
Yes. Anyway, so back to your question, Denise. Obviously, a $5,000 line of credit at Venetian was not enough to get
They
a
do not
host
want
to
you.
really right. I know that straight from the host's mouth.
Yes. No, I mean, you know, you talk about lines of credit. I feel like at Aria, 10,000, I think, is like the bare minimum. And we've maybe touched on this a little bit before in a previous episode, like a year ago or something. But I feel like in Vegas, 10,000 on a credit line is really like the jumping off point for a casino on the strip to have any care at all about you. Like at that level, It might be enough to get assigned a host. It might not, but it's enough where they're like, okay, this is somebody we should probably keep our eye on. But maybe it's different downtown. You know, if you're given a $5,000 credit limit downtown, that'd be a lot.
Right.
And they would really care about it. But on the strip, I feel like 10 grand is a good jumping off point to at least be something. But I feel like the real number for the higher level properties on the strip is 25.
Yeah,
That's
I think so
really
too.
that's the minimum they really want to see to have a player that they take seriously.
Right. So anyway, I thought that was hilarious and fit right in with Denise's question. Yeah, 5,000 was not enough to perk our host's ears up at the dinner table.
I wish I could be there. So she'd be something like, oh, well, that's nice. That's great. Okay, well, just, you know, I work these hours. Don't swing by then.
Don't swing by.
Oh, geez. So, Josh, that wraps up Friday pretty much. Saturday, I was waiting for the obligatory coffee dice tweet that was always going to come out that morning, and it never came.
No, coffee dice turned into coffee slots and coffee VP.
Mm-hmm,
And as it did for much of this trip, I did play one coffee dice session the day I left on Tuesday.
Let me ask, Josh, in the whole time that you were there, how many unique individual crap sessions did you have?
That would be 2, Chris.
And how many of those sessions were at Venetian Palazzo?
Both sessions at Venetian
Okay.
Palazzo. One evening with Boring Jack. And I think Marilyn was there also. And then the final day, I felt that I better do something to live up to my, my moniker and our show and things. So I played coffee dice on Tuesday morning, the day I left.
Now, I will also say, I remember seeing a tweet from you at one point during the trip that you were there, and I noticed that you were not playing our normal lacrosse either.
You are correct about that. That would have been the session I played with Boring Jack and Marilyn on, I think it was Saturday night, Sunday night, whatever night it was. And yeah, I wanted to play low. My idea was to see if I could enjoy it playing. So I did 120 across. 120, 140. What is it?
So you did 540 across?
I did what, 125 across? What's the number? I've lost track.
Oh, so you played really low limit.
Yeah. Or maybe I did.
Okay. So you played 135.
Maybe I played 270.
That'd be a quarter on everything. Yeah. 30 on the 6A.
Oh, so it's 130. I either played 135 across or 270 across. I can't remember which I did, but it was definitely lower than.
I wasn't going to call you out for that, but I knew I saw a photo with like $50 on a 4 or 10 or something, and I was like,
yeah.
Okay, so you had 2 crap sessions and lower level than usual.
Yes, although the second crap session I did do the normal. I did do 540.
Well, thank God.
Yeah.
So is this show? Are we really winding down now? Is this the end?
I'll tell you one thing. And we'll kind of go through some more of the specifics on the show, on the trip. But I still enjoy playing craps. I love playing craps. But I'll tell you, I have that fondness that I have for bar top video poker is a real thing. Like right now, that is something that I just got a ton of enjoyment out of. And it is probably going to take a little bit of my what otherwise would have been craps time or my slot time, which is not a bad thing. But I really enjoyed it.
Now, does the comp aspect play into this at all? Are you being driven by recognizing that you're getting a lot more free play now, that you're being slot heavy, and now you're throwing a bunch of VP into, and even our host there specifically has said, stop playing on the tables and go put it in a machine for me sort of thing? Is that motivating you to do that more? Or is this truly driven by the fact that you actually are preferring playing video poker right now more than playing craps?
It's that. It's the latter. It's that A little bit of it is driven by comps and, that kind of thing. But if I were going to do that, I'd, do slot machines exclusively. I'm aware I'm getting a lot less tier credit accumulation on VP.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
So it's not, but I really am enjoying it. I like just sitting there and drinking. And it's a social aspect. If there's somebody else with me, that kind of thing. And perhaps the money can go so fast. What I'm enjoying about video poker is it does seem to you can play for a lot longer.
Now you say that, Josh, but you've almost taken the craps approach to video poker in the sense that you are playing video poker in the most high variance volatility way that you possibly can. You are playing, not only are you playing 3-hand, which obviously increases things a little bit, but you're playing now Ultimate X 3-hand. And more than once, I saw photographs of you playing $60 a pull Ultimate X 3-hand video poker.
And sometimes I played 5-hand. Well, don't get to the Ultimate X part yet. We'll talk about that in a sec.
Okay.
Let's just close. A couple things I want to mention on Saturday. Did the Canyon Ranch Spa again, which was terrific. I loved having a massage. So part of the whole way that this trip went was they Venetian, for their first time ever, I think, had a 3 times multiplier on Sunday and Monday. They've got a couple of them coming up in April. And so we had decided really wanted to try and maximize our play on Sunday and Monday. So Saturday was the take it easy day, which worked well because I was, had lost a little bit on that Friday. And so Saturday I did a massage, which was fantastic. And then, Chris, we went downtown. We went to El Cortez, which you're not allowed in.
I mean, the last time I was there, they did trespass me. I don't think I'm supposed to come back, but it's been a long time, Josh. At this point, it's been at least 10 years. I feel like they've forgotten about me. And quite frankly, I look completely different than I did then. Yeah. So even if they had my photo at the front door, I don't think they would stop me.
Yeah, I don't know. I doubt they would too. But I was thinking, Chris, El Cortez, it had a beautiful smell when you walked in. El Cortez smelled really nice. Yeah, it smelled really nice. You went in. I thought my first impression was, hey, this is kind of a nice property. I don't know that I'd ever been in El Cortez before.
I don't think anybody's ever said that before.
Well, they've remodeled, they've added, they've expanded or remodeled. So the casino floor is, and so you go along, it's a fairly big casino floor for a downtown property. And we got about halfway through and the smell changed.
Uh-oh. You got near the regulars? Is that what happened?
Then it was kind of the sewage-ish smell that sometimes you get in Vegas properties. And then it was not so nice. I was impressed with their variety of slot machines. They seem to have all the new, they had the new Huff and Puffs. They had the new, and then we went over to downtown Grand.
Okay.
The one so Derek Stevens owns the D, right? So this was downtown Grand. We went to downtown Grand and they had like a Huff and Puff wolf den. I sent Chris
some of the newer ones. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
Not particularly impressed. Not, downtown Grand is what it is, but I would say we only stayed downtown for hour or so. It wasn't a big downtown excursion. And then it was back to VP, had dinner at the Black Tap on Saturday night, the burger place. And you'll like this, Chris. So it happened to be when we went, I think it was the Eagles concert was about to start and the NCAA tournament was going on.
Yeah, a lot going on that weekend.
So we get up to the host desk and they said, it's going to be a 2-hour wait.
Can I guess what Josh Duffy said?
I pulled out the old diamond card.
Absolutely.
And she said, it's going to be a 2-hour wait.
Good. Thank God. Because that trick actually works and it gets you ahead of everybody. I'm glad Venetian put their foot down and said, no, cut this bullshit off right now.
So we took a what do you call it when you just lurk at the bar waiting for, somebody to leave? We positioned ourselves as people looked like they might be finishing their food, kind of stalked the bar area and then sat down. So we had to wait for, 20 minutes or so. And that was really good. Yeah.
Yeah. Did you like the burger?
I did. I did like the burger. It was good food. It was fun to watch the basketball game. I think we finished up with some more VP back and watched the end of the game. This was the Houston Duke game on that night.
Okay.
Which was also a fantastic finish if you're a Houston fan.
I mean, the whole Final Four was amazing. No complaints at all from me.
And that was it for Saturday night.
Okay. So we move into Sunday. Sunday is where the 3X multiplier starts that you were talking about earlier.
Yes.
So that means that the first 2 days didn't even really count. This is where your serious gambling really kicks in, right?
This is where the serious gambling kicked in. 3 times multiplier. I already planned on going kind of bananas to see what I could do, points wise and things. Started out with some NFL, of course.
Of course you did. How'd that go, Josh?
This one worked out better. It was only the
Okay,
first
good.
day that was god awful. The rest of it was,
Okay.
Fine. I don't know if I quite found the right AP numbers.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, you got to hit the button at the right time. And
Yeah, you do.
yeah, no,
So
it's
this is
tough.
where on Sunday morning, for the first time ever, I went to Bouchon.
Oh, good.
Yeah, this was
I love
Boring
Bouchon.
Jack's idea, and I had their equivalent of biscuits and gravy, whatever their fancy biscuits and gravy dish is called,
Okay.
and an espresso martini. The biscuits and gravy was fantastic. You really realize at nice restaurants how much flavor plays a role, if that makes sense. Like
Mhm.
you get really, you can get biscuits and gravy anywhere.
Sure.
I
Yeah.
could go to Grand Lux.
They can throw
and get
some
biscuits
white
and
country gravy
Right.
on it. And yes,
And
you'll
it
have a
just
soggy,
is what it is, right?
a soggy biscuit that's a little salty. Yeah.
Yeah. But at a place like Bouchon, you get kind of these refined flavors. And that's where it makes a difference. And we had a great time. You can charge it back to your room. That was fantastic. And then is where you brought it up earlier, but the whole Jack introduced me to Ultimate X happened.
And now, to be fair, when I've been playing video poker recently, I've been playing a decent amount of Ultimate X.
Yeah.
Definitely not at the levels that I saw you playing, but I do like playing Ultimate X because it's kind of like the reason I like craps and playing like the all tall small and stuff. Yes, it increases your variance. Yes, my money goes down a lot quicker playing Ultimate X than traditional video poker, but
Right.
you also get those big pops that I really like that make the gambling interesting. And I always know in the back of my mind, there is a chance, albeit a small one, that I could theoretically hit a royal flush
Right.
for
Right. With the
$48,000
multiplier.
on
Yeah,
one
exactly.
hand. I mean,
Right.
it could happen. Theoretically, with what you were doing on a 3-hand Ultimate X game, I mean, you could be hitting a royal flush with full multipliers, Josh, for 140 grand.
Right. That's
It could
in the
happen.
back of my head the whole time. And it wasn't, the whole exercise was not helped by the fact that, of course, right away, Chris, I hit a $3,600 4-of-a-kind hand pay.
Oh,
Now
okay.
I'm hooked
I mean,
on Ultimate X. And it's
It's like the
you
worst
know,
thing that can ever happen when you first go to a casino is win because it's just going to continue.
I went back and forth on the trip between Ultimate X and regular double. And part of the thing I think, Chris, and you kind of touched on it, that I like about Ultimate X are those swings. And I like the idea that one hand impacts the next in
Yes,
Ultimate X.
I agree.
Like there were times that I have a full house on regular, and then the next
Mhm.
hand would come around and I'm feeling a little let down because I don't have that 12x multiplier, that whole thing.
Oh, sure. It definitely increases the excitement for that next hand.
Yeah.
Because when you come in, now, not so much like when you get a pair and you get a 2X,
No,
or if you
right.
get 3 of a kind, you get 3. But when you start getting straights and flushes.
The 8s and 10s and 12x.
Yes. I mean, when you start getting to those numbers, that's where it does get really exciting. Because then when you hit that, play max bet button for the next hand, you got a 12X sitting there. You're praying to God something massive
something
comes.
good happens, right? Well, and I think, Chris, I was thinking about my kind of philosophy or strategy or whatever on video poker going forward is going to be. I don't want to always play Ultimate X.
Sure.
I think Ultimate X is going to be when I feel like I have either at the beginning of my trip or times when I have a good bankroll and I want to just gamble. I want to
Okay.
have fun, like the one we play 600 across and craps. That kind of idea of I just want to play like Ultimate X, 3-hand, $30 a pull, $60 a pull, whatever it's going to be. If I want to just be there and kind of grind out time and that kind of thing, I'll go back to regular.
Now, let me ask this. Would you have more fun playing 3-hand, $2 normal video poker? So $30. 'cause
Right.
It's $10 for each hand.
Right.
Or would you rather play $1 Ultimate X for $30? Would you rather have the higher denomination or that randomness of the bonuses?
Well, that's what I was playing for a while.
Okay.
Was $30 a pull on either game. So I try and
Yeah,
make
just
it so
bouncing
it's-
back and forth.
Right.
Okay.
And it depends on I like the Ultimate X, except then a few times I did find myself thinking, well, maybe I should be playing $60 a pull, to
Okay.
get the
Yeah, I got you.
to get that level. So I don't know. It depends. A lot of it depends on bankroll and how much variance I want. A couple other highlights I wanted to mention, Chris, from Sunday. I did a slot poll with our listener Sean, moderator of the Facebook group, and he
Was Sean
he Venmoed-
there?
No,
Oh,
he Venmoed me a little
he
money.
did the virtual slot.
He did
poll.
the
Gotcha.
Chris and Josh method, but we won, Chris. Unlike when you and I do it.
Bullshit.
We
I told
had-
Josh no this trip because we had such bad
He
luck.
did.
And you know what? I will say this. You really do have to trust the person
Yes, you
that
do.
you're doing this with.
Well,
So
Sean
good
made
for
you
you,
FaceTime
Sean.
it though the whole time.
Oh, I would too. I mean, yeah. That's why I didn't do it, because I didn't have time to FaceTime you. But just be careful with that.
Yes.
Listeners in general. I mean, don't just arbitrarily send people money that you don't 100% trust, because they could lie about it. But
yeah,
I mean, Josh wouldn't do that. I mean, he's a good guy. But
so we had Chris. We started with, we each put in $500, and it was down to like $9 or something, and then we kept hitting. We had a hand pay. We had a so it was nice. So each of us split 2,400. I think is where we ended up. So Sean got 1,200 out of his $700 profit, which was
That's awesome. Well, congratulations to you guys for that. And I remember you said at one point, Josh, there was a mansion bonus that you wanted to talk about.
Oh yeah, Chris, there is. If you're, we won't go too far into the slot Vegas talk, but
well, I mean, there is no more crap Vegas. I mean, what else we have to talk about?
I guess it is what it is. If you're a slot player and if you play Huff and Even More Puff, there is about nothing more fun in that game than hitting either the upgrade or the upgrade wheel and getting the mansion bonus.
Yes, it is the best bonus that you can get. It is very exciting. Yes, that's the one thing I always love.
Yeah, it is. And I sent Chris at one point a screenshot before I knew what was going to happen. And the screen is, 75, 80% full of mansions on the upgrade screen. And it was like, this is going to be whatever it is. It's going to be fantastic. And it was like almost $9,000, I think.
Yeah, I think I was actually within $300 on my guess.
You were very
with myself.
close. And the last thing about Sunday, we ate dinner at Matteo's.
Okay.
Which I had never been to before. And it was Italian. So I've been told by Marilyn, there's two different kinds of Italian. There's Buddy V's, which we ate at on the last day, on Monday, which she called red sauce Italian, Chris. And then there's like fancy Italian.
Okay.
So Matteo's would be the fancy Italian. Buddy V's would be red sauce Italian.
Okay.
I didn't know that there was, but I can. I ordered it at Matteo's. I think I ordered a tortellini with black truffle shavings, and I asked for no black truffle shavings. And
will they do that?
Well, they said they would do that.
Okay, go ahead.
So the food comes out, and of course, there's black truffles on it.
Okay.
And I thought, I'm not one of those people, unless it's really egregious. I'm not one of those people that's gonna really raise a fuss.
Bring the waiter back, and I didn't want this, and
I was just like, okay, I can pick around. It's not the end of the world. So we're just starting to dive in, and the person I assume is the restaurant manager comes by.
Yep. And
she said, I wanted to check on you, sir. You had a look on your face.
Interesting.
When the food arrived. And so I checked, and sure enough, on the order, it said no black truffles, and they came out with black truffles. So she was, the service was, I'd never had that happen before at a restaurant. Like, she was so observant. She watches the face of guests when they get their food.
When they get their food, and she recognized something was wrong.
Right. And I just thought that was, and they remade it. It took, 5-6 minutes or something like that. And that was just, I wanted to mention that service was an amazing thing that I'd never had happen in a restaurant before. The food was very good. Could charge you back to your room. So that was great.
Yeah.
So that was it for Sunday.
Okay. So moving on to Monday, Josh, the 3X multiplier continues. I guarantee you played a ton more NFL.
Yeah.
Probably a ton more video poker.
Ultimate X. Yeah.
Yeah. All that good stuff. Now, I do remember you got to play at the video poker bar with Marilyn.
Yes, got to play lots with Marilyn and Eric and Jack, and mostly Marilyn and Jack, I think, were the two that spent the most time with. But Marilyn, I think it was on Monday, hit a royal flush.
Yep. I haven't hit one. You haven't hit one. That day will come, but it's not there yet.
I was very excited for her. Also very annoyed that it wasn't me.
Jealous.
Yeah, jealous is a good word. So she hit a royal flush for $4,000. And right before it had happened, I had encouraged her. She'd had some 4 of a kinds and stuff, and she'd been playing 50 cents. 3-line, double bonus at 50 cents. And I said, Marilyn, you're up. And we'd been drinking. I said, Marilyn, you're up. Switch it to $1. Yeah. And she did. And she hits it for the $4,000. And the next day she hit the aces with the kicker for $2,000. So
which is awesome. Yeah. So she had a great trip. Yeah, for sure.
Poker time. Yeah. And we had drinks at Juliet's, which is a cocktail bar. Very unlike me to go to a cocktail bar, but we've been invited by Dave and Sonia, who were on It's Vegas Y'all, and they have a travel YouTube channel. They invited us to Juliet's for cocktails, so I had 2 cocktails that were kind of pink drinks served in this owl glass.
I saw the container that it came in. That was very interesting.
And I bought the drinks for 2 of us because they could split the check in 2. So I bought the drinks for 2 of us. So we had 4 drinks, Chris. It was $150.
Whoa. Now you say you paid. You charged it back to your room?
Yes, charge it back to the room.
Oh, okay. So no, you didn't pay. You paid the tip.
Yeah, that's true. Actually, when we had dinner on the Friday night with our host, we were joking about, I'd pick up hers, and I said, it's okay, I'll pick up yours because you're going to pick it up eventually anyway.
Oh, poor lady.
Which is exactly what happened. So, and then I mentioned we had dinner at Buddy V's that night, which was, very nice. It's not fantastic Italian food, but it's really serviceable, and I liked it.
You and I enjoyed it when we went together that time. I mean, the food quality was fine. I enjoyed it. It was easy. It was quick. It was friendly, relatively nicely priced. It was good.
And that was the bulk of the trip. Do you want to know how many tier credits I earned?
Yes. Well, I mean, I know the answer, Josh, but I'm sure the listeners want to know because that's going to spur my final question. Go ahead.
So,
how many did you earn on this trip?
I ended up with almost triple diamond. So I got to 148,000 tier credits, I think.
Over 5 days.
5 days of gambling.
5 days and 3
Saturday,
days had
not
triple
much
points.
on Saturday, but yeah.
That really makes me appreciate how much I played in that one day, by the way.
No
that
kidding.
means if I had a triple multiplier, I would have earned the same amount of points in one day that you did for 5.
It was, Chris, I texted Chris this as I'm playing on Friday and into Saturday. I think by the end of the day Saturday, and remember, Saturday wasn't a full day at Venetian Palazzo, but I had maybe 30,000, 35, somewhere in there, 1,000 points. And Chris had earned 48,000 or whatever it was in 24 hours. And I thought, holy cow, did you play?
It was a heavy day. It really was. I'm not going to lie.
A ton.
So my big question, Josh, and my big takeaway from this whole trip, and maybe you talked about this with our host, maybe you didn't, is Chairman's Tier in play now?
Well, we didn't talk about it that specifically.
Okay. Because I feel like knowing you, I feel like you had to bring this up with her at some point.
Well, I brought it up before the trip. I said, when I asked for the prophylactic TTO, I said, I'm trying to get to Chairman's. And so, but we never got a new discussion of, is there any possibility? What I did find out though, is our host, because they recently had a Chairman's event at Venetian, our host only has one Chairman player. So they are very rare.
Okay. So this isn't like MGM with Noir.
This isn't Noir, right?
Anybody can hit 2 million points and get the invite if they really want to.
Exactly. So I think that the chances of me making Chairman pretty remote. I mean, I think it sounds like you need to have credit lines upwards of 200,000 and all that kind of stuff. Like you're
there's a lot of components that are
really,
going into it.
Right. Like she has one, and I think that's a good deal.
Okay. Now, see, I was thinking about this, Josh, because I started thinking to myself, okay, now Venetian's having their 3x multiplier. It runs the next 2 weeks. I've got the email. And Josh, I don't think you mentioned it today, but we've talked about before. Not only are they running the 3x multiplier, but they're also giving you a bonus on your free play if you come during this window, which is really nice. I mean, it's about 25 to 30% bonus over your normal offer. So, I mean, it's not nothing. So that's really nice. So I considered taking a last minute trip like next weekend when I was free, if I am free for a day, just to get a 3x multiplier day and be like, wow, can I knock out 150,000 points in a day?
Right.
But after talking with you about it today and understanding that, the only reason I would do it is if Chairman's Tier truly was in play and with no understanding what they're really looking for, or even if it's really attainable for a player our level, there's really no reason to do it.
Yeah, I think trying to get, I mean, I'm not saying you shouldn't go. In fact, we were even joking at dinner about there's not, I mean, for me, tier credit points, when you reach diamond, there's not really,
then what's the point? It's meaningless. It really is. I mean, I hate that. And especially as much as we play now, we hit effectively the top tier that we can hit the first time we go.
Right.
And then from that point forward, it really doesn't matter.
Yeah. So it's fun. It's kind of exciting that I'm already at triple diamond after one trip, but it doesn't mean anything. It's just absolutely meaningless.
I mean, I would say, Josh, that is the one benefit to MGM.
Yes.
Is that Noir is obtainable.
Yes.
It's extremely obtainable. I mean,
well, it's even more of a significance to, I would say, 7 stars at Caesars, because that's actually a level. You know what I mean? Like that's actually something you can.
I mean, 7 stars is extremely easy to hit.
Yes.
I mean, I don't even, maybe I should, but I don't, when people say they're a 7-star player at Caesars, I don't even consider them even remotely on the
They're
same
not even
level.
People to you?
No, it's not that. It's just I don't consider the work that they put in to get to that level and the amount of play given. I don't put that on the same level as hitting one of the real, like the true top tiers at like a Wynn or a Venetian Palazzo.
Right.
Or even MGM.
Noir. Right.
I mean, yeah, it's just not the same. It isn't. You can hit 7-star status pretty easily. I used to do it as a blackjack player that was not playing that heavily. It's just if you can put the hours in, you can hit it, even without playing high levels. But it's just a different game.
Yeah, I think you're right. I would love to get to one of those sometime, but given I probably won't play much at MGM a ton, I don't think Noir is on the table, and it doesn't sound like Chairman is either.
Well, and that was my last question before we go, Josh. Are you officially done with other properties now? Are you assigning yourself to Venetian Palazzo going forward?
I wouldn't say I'm officially done, but I think I'm probably, and the only part of me that is hesitant at all is I like our PCS for MGM for Aria a lot, and I like Sky Suites and that kind of thing, but I'm pretty happy with the whole Venetian Palazzo experience. I am curious if I switch more of my play to video poker at the expense of slots, how much my offers might go down, or if I just play longer at video poker so it ends up coming out even in the wash, that kind of thing.
We'll find out in the next few weeks.
Yeah, but I think I'm pretty happy there.
Okay. After the break, we'll answer a couple listener questions and a couple other things, so stick around. Welcome back, everybody. Let's move on to listener questions. First, got a question from Nick. Nick said, hello, gentlemen. Listening to one of your episodes and hearing about some of your trips made me think about your level of play. I completely understand why you stick to the places you play at with those kind of bets. But if tomorrow your gambling budget shrank to $1,000 or $2,000 for a whole trip, what property would you make your home at? Love the show, and it's really nice to be able to listen weekly. Thank you all, Nick.
Well, thanks, Nick. I think for me, if I had just a really low budget like that, I might do Excalibur or Luxor. Kind of right there in that.
Ooh,
if I could do Planet Hollywood,
the Oyo fans are about to jump out at you and attack you.
Well, Oyo has good craps, and since I'm not a craps player,
I've been told. That's true. Yeah, that doesn't benefit you as much anymore.
I mean, if I could do it, I'd do Planet Hollywood, but I'm not quite sure that's enough for Planet Hollywood. But in there. What about you?
Yeah, I think Planet Hollywood would be kind of tough at that level, honestly. I can't argue with you, Josh, on like Excalibur, Luxor. That'd be okay.
I wouldn't do downtown.
No, I wouldn't go downtown. Maybe you could get away. Oh, I'll tell you what I would do. Palms. That's what I would do.
Yeah.
Palms has some lower level tables usually because they're off the strip. It's still a really nice property to stay at. Right. Good food options. I would go with Palms.
I like it.
Question from Brad. He said, hey guys, I just got back from a trip to Fontainebleau. I booked a stay using an offer I had for 2 comp nights. I admittedly did not give them that much play during the trip. I was up quite a bit my first night after a couple great rolls at Palms and Rio, and I wanted to lock up a solid win for the trip. I accrued a meager 500 tier credits at Fontainebleau between some slot play, bubble craps, and pie gow, and this was the first play I'd given them this year, so I was starting at 0. After checking out, I was surprised to see on my rewards app that I now had over 5,000 tier credits. My folio charges included a couples treatment at the spa, which was pricey, and a meal at the promenade. Question is, does it matter how you earn your tier credits, and will my lack of play affect my future offers even though I did earn a healthy amount of tier credits the other way? I'm mostly concerned about continuing to get comp rooms there. I'm typically a $135 across player and craps with some slots mixed in. The free play I get offered at most properties doesn't really move the needle one way or the other. Thanks, Brad. So, Josh, this is a person that earned almost all their tier credits from spend. How does that impact their future offers, and how does that impact their free play?
Yeah, thanks, Brad. That's a great question. I would say that spend is not going to be considered a ton. So really, your free play and your offers are based on your Theo. So there's spend can have an impact, but it's not the driver at all. Unless you're spending a ton, then that could move the needle, I suppose. But no, really, unfortunately, it's based on your Theo. All those offers are to get you back as a gambler, not so much on what you're spending on your food and beverage or your massages and all that kind of stuff. It's driven by the gambling.
Yeah, overall, your offer is effectively not impacted at all by what you spend when you're on property. It's great that they give you credit, tier credit-wise, to progress for spending that money. But at the end of the day, they're not going to offer you something because you spent a lot of money in their hotel. If anything, they like having you paying money at their hotel for things. I mean, that's a win for them. So they'd rather you just come out of pocket and do it, and maybe they would even take away your room eventually. But you're not going to earn free rooms or free play based off of spend in the hotel. I don't know of any property that would do that.
Right.
Okay, Josh, I think that's going to wrap it up for questions. Let's keep it rolling.
All right.
Patreon. That's patreon.com/crapvegas. What's new over there, Josh?
Well, Chris, we did another one of our CVTVs last show. We did part 2 of the Las Vegas Secrets Revealed show where they're looking at suites from 20, 30 years ago, whatever it was. And one of them was the Bellagio Villa, one of the villas at Bellagio, which was kind of our favorite of the whole group. I think there was a Venetian suite in there, which was cool.
It was.
And really a lot of fun. Chris and I enjoy doing all the stuff we do over on Patreon and appreciate all the support, especially our new patrons. Well, our old patrons too. We appreciate all our patrons. But we really have a lot of
comment
fun.
on their age, Josh, or
Exactly.
just their recency of signing up?
Whatever works.
Okay, good.
But anyway, we really have a lot of fun over there. The CVTVs are I think fun for anybody who's never seen those shows to watch them with us, and hopefully we're entertaining and that kind of thing. And it's fun for us to see it too.
Yeah, absolutely. So a big thank you to the people that have signed up over the past 2 weeks. That was Brian L., Jeff L., Little Joe from Kokomo, Brad C., Christian P. A special thank you to Chef Demoni.
Yes.
He upgraded Josh to an annual KCS membership. And I know he had a recent podcast come out kind of talking about why he won't be visiting Vegas as much recently. But he said he could get a lot of excitement just listening to our show. So we appreciate that.
Yeah, Graham, thanks so much for the upgrade. Really appreciate that. Hope you can live vicariously through us for a little while until you're back in Vegas.
So hopefully you like sluts, because if you're listening to Josh, that's the only talk you're going to get.
That's right. That's it.
Josh, also a special thank you to Mark L., who had a PayPal donation over the past couple weeks. Mark said, absolutely love the show and couldn't show enough love on Patreon, so wanted to send a little extra. Thanks for all your hard work and time.
Thank you so much, Mark.
Upcoming trips. We don't have a date officially pegged on it yet, do we? But I know you and I are going to be out there late May, early June together.
Yep, I think that's the target. No specifics yet, but we'll let you know as soon as we do.
So probably in the next 4 to 6 weeks, somewhere in there.
I got to rebuild the bankroll a little bit.
Yeah, my bankroll's okay right now, but I don't want it to deplete it all. So yeah, we're just having trouble setting that date. We'll get it though. Friendly reminder, subscribe and leave a review on your favorite podcasting app. Visit our merch store over at crapvegas.com/shop. We've made it this far, so can we just go home now, Josh? Or is there something else that you want to do?
We always have to spin the wheel, Chris.
Okay, go ahead.
All right, here we go.
It's time to spin the Crap Vegas Big Wheel. Are you ready? Josh, spin the wheel.
Okay, Chris, you probably know that coming up, I think we even mentioned it, maybe even on a past wheel, April 19th and 20th, that weekend is WrestleMania.
Yes, I think we talked about this before.
What I didn't know, and just the wheel told me right now, is that there are all sorts of ancillary events that happen at the same time as WrestleMania. So, for example, on Thursday night, April 17th, you can go to the Micromania Midget Wrestling match.
Oh, okay. Well, see, now I think that would actually be more fun than WrestleMania.
Well, if you want to, I think it's on Fremont Street at something called The Nerd.
Sounds classy.
There you go. And the other one is there is a wrestling observation convention.
Like people that watch wrestling?
It's come hang out with wrestling fans.
Wow.
At the Palms. That's April 18th. So there you go.
This feels like one of those things where like Jerry the King Lawler's there signing autographs for $100 if you come over. Sergeant Slaughter's in the background. Right. Yeah, one of those sort of things. Okay.
But the funny thing is, so I'm looking at what's happening in Vegas and I see this wrestling observation convention. I'm thinking that is one of the strangest things. And then I backtracked into the fact that WrestleMania is happening the same weekend. So then it made a little more sense.
Makes a lot more
just
sense.
Random wrestling fans getting together.
I agree. Anything
All right,
else
that's it
there,
for the
Josh?
first wheel. Yeah, I got one more quick one.
Okay. I hope it landed on the one you were hoping for.
I hope so. Okay, Chris. Oh, this is interesting. It's because it's tax time. It's very tax appropriate. So, Chris, I'm going to give you the name of a couple Las Vegas casino, the real name of the entity, and you tell me what property it is. This makes sense?
So I think so. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm going to give you, for example, PHWLV LLC.
That would probably be Planet Hollywood.
Right. This is doing business at Planet Hollywood. So that was the easy one. Okay. How about Bowtie Hospitality LLC?
Fountain Blue.
There you go.
I'm
How
on
about
fire.
Parball Nuco LLC?
Uh-oh. It falls apart here for me, Josh. What is Parball Nuco LLC?
That's Horseshoe.
Oh, of course it is. Why wouldn't it be?
And this is a trick question. How about Jazz Casino Company LLC?
Oh, I don't know that one either.
That is Harrah's New Orleans.
Interesting. I was going to say that these are all places that you had hand pays in 2024. And so you were just going through your W2Gs and you saw this until you got to the last one.
Well, yeah, that you would be correct, except for it just came up on the wheel. So that couldn't have been what.
Oh, Gotcha.
what spurred the. But yes,
Okay,
that,
no,
that would
is true.
otherwise
That
be.
is true.
And no, I didn't get a hand pay at Jazz Casino Company LLC.
Okay, well, fair enough. Anything
That's
else
what we
this
got
week,
for the
Josh?
wheel. No, that's
Okay.
it.
Anything you want to talk about before we get out of here?
No, I had a really, really, really great time. Oh, one more thing. One more quick little wrap up of Vegas. Chris, I got recognized twice. We did. So the show did. Once was at Mateo's, just sitting there. The person with his lady next to us said, "Are you Josh from Crap Vegas?" Just
It's
happened
so
to have
weird,
the
isn't
table
it?
next to us, and I said, "Yeah." So, and I'm sorry, I can't remember the names. Both of you that I'm going to mention introduced yourselves, and I can't remember the name of the moment, but that was cool. And the other one was at the video poker bar, Venetian, just playing next to somebody. And he said,
I've found
your
on
voice is
average-
familiar. Yeah.
Yeah, I find on average it happens about once or twice a day when we're out there. Just somebody recognizes the voice or something. More and more so, I think people are recognize what we look like. I think honestly, it's because we have a lot more patrons now that can see us.
Yes, that's true.
So I think they can, they know what we look like, so they can kind of hunt us down pretty easily. But it's always weird. It always makes me feel very awkward that somebody does recognize me. And then it inevitably leads to a conversation I have to have with like other people at the craps table or the dealers, like,
who you are.
wait,
right.
who are you? Wait, who are you? How did they know you? And then you have to explain it, and then it just leads to a whole thing. It's nice being anonymous sometimes.
It is. But anyway, so thank you guys for being out there as fans, and it is fun to get recognized. And I'm sorry I can't remember your names. I was drinking. I drank a lot.
Messages. Send us a message on one of our socials or something, and we'll make sure we call you out next time.
We didn't talk about it. I had the usual pink drinks. I had
we talked
espresso
about it, Josh. You
martinis.
had tons of drinks. We know.
Yes.
You
No,
were
I meant we didn't talk
overloaded.
about what kind of drinks.
Josh, everybody knows what you're drinking. It's not like you're ordering a bourbon or something. Okay, Josh, with all that being said, I feel like this is a really good point to end the show. Thank you all for listening. We really do appreciate it. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.
Vegas, here we come.
Thanks for listening to the Crap Vegas podcast.
Have you ever been to Vegas?
Check out all our recent news and our Vegas trip calendar by visiting crapvegas.com.
See you in Vegas.
You can hit us up on Twitter. He's at Vegas Duffy.
X.
Oh, you wanted to jump in there. I always forget that you want to now.
I was just going to wait for a gap there.
Here.
I think so too, and I have a never mind. I'm just gonna say I think so too, and we will. I think so too.
Perfect.
Let me do that one more time.
Try one more time and I'll shut up. It's time to spin the big wheel. Josh, spin that wheel. Do. Boom.
Perfect.
Perfect.